Breakups are tough, but nothing quite prepares you for the gut-wrenching moment you see your ex happily moving on, especially when it feels like they didn't even stop to grieve what you had. It's like getting sucker punched while you're already down. For Jay, 33, this nightmare became a reality just 6 months after a 6-year relationship ended. His ex jumped into a rebound relationship that went public only 2 weeks after their breakup. Jay was left reeling, grappling with feelings of betrayal, self-doubt, and frustration. If you've ever been in Jay's shoes, you know how brutal this emotional storm can be. It leaves you questioning your worth and wondering how to move forward when everything feels stuck. But here's the truth. This pain, while overwhelming, can be a turning point, a chance to not only heal, but to rebuild yourself stronger and more confident than ever. So, how do you stop comparing yourself to the new guy? How do you let go of what was and focus on what could be? This guide dives into Jay's journey and offers practical advice for anyone dealing with the sting of a rebound relationship. Let's break it down. 1. The pain of seeing your ex move on. Breakups are never easy, but seeing your ex move on quickly can feel like the ultimate betrayal. Imagine this. You've spent 6 years investing in a relationship, only for it to end, and within 2 weeks, your ex is flaunting a new partner. This is Jay's story. Jay, 33, had a long-distance relationship with his partner, who is now in a rebound relationship just months after their breakup. The pain Jay feels isn't just about the breakup, it's about the suddenness of seeing someone he cared for deeply with someone else. This situation creates an emotional storm of frustration, jealousy, and self-doubt, making it almost impossible to move forward. Jay can't help but compare himself to the new partner, wondering, what does he have that I don't? It's a blow to anyone's confidence, especially when it feels like your ex didn't even pause to grieve the relationship. For many men, this experience resonates deeply. It's not just the end of a relationship, it's the unraveling of your self-esteem. But this pain, while overwhelming, is also a wake-up call. It forces you to confront hard truths about your ex, yourself, and the need to rebuild from this heartbreak. 2. The trap of staying in contact. Staying friends with an ex after a breakup might seem mature and compassionate, but it often traps you in an endless cycle of emotional pain. Jay's story is a perfect example. 6 months after the breakup, he and his ex decided to stay in contact, thinking it would help them navigate their emotions. Instead, it kept Jay stuck. Every friendly message or casual check-in reopened the wounds, making it impossible to let go. Each interaction reminded him of what he lost and blurred the boundaries between "we're done" and "what if." It's a cruel limbo that many men can relate to, hanging on to the hope that staying in touch might reignite something, even when you know deep down it won't. For Jay, this friendship only made things worse when his ex's rebound relationship became public. Suddenly, those friendly chats weren't comforting. They were painful reminders of her moving on. Cutting contact may seem cold, but it's a necessary step for self-preservation. True healing requires distance. It's not about punishing your ex, it's about protecting yourself. By walking away, you create the space you need to grieve, reflect, and eventually rebuild your life on your own terms. 3. Why your ex moved on so quickly. It's a question that haunts many men after a breakup. How could she move on so fast? Jay wrestled with this same thought, especially after his ex's rebound relationship became public just 2 weeks after they split. It's easy to assume this means she never cared, but the truth is more complex. According to Jay's counselor, rebound relationships often aren't about replacing you, they're about the ex filling an emotional void. Long-term relationships, like Jay's 6-year one, often end because of gradual emotional detachment. By the time the breakup happens, one person may already feel over it, even if the other isn't. For Jay's ex, jumping into a new relationship might be a way to distract herself from the pain or avoid dealing with unresolved emotions. This doesn't mean She's found something better. It's likely a short-term escape. Jay's takeaway is this. Her rebound isn't a reflection of his worth or what their relationship meant. It's about her coping mechanisms. Understanding this can help you avoid the trap of self-blame. When your ex moves on quickly, it stings, but it doesn't diminish the value of what you shared or your ability to grow beyond it. 4. Reflecting on what went wrong. Breakups are painful, but they're also an opportunity for reflection. In Jay's case, one hard truth emerged. He gave too much of himself to the relationship. Over 6 years, he prioritized his partner's needs over his own, sacrificing personal growth and balance. It's a trap many men fall into, pouring 100% into a relationship because that's what they think love requires. But relationships aren't meant to drain you, they're meant to complement your life. When you give everything and neglect yourself, you lose touch with your own identity. For Jay, this realization was a bitter pill to swallow. He didn't set healthy boundaries or maintain hobbies and interests outside of the relationship. His world revolved around his partner, leaving him feeling lost when it ended. The counselor's advice was clear. Healthy relationships thrive when both partners contribute equally 50-50. This doesn't mean holding back love. It means maintaining your independence and personal growth. For Jay, this reflection wasn't about blaming himself, but about learning from the past. Moving forward, he knows the importance of balance, self-care, and never losing sight of who he is, even in the deepest connections. 5. Building a new foundation. To truly heal, Jay had to take a bold step, cutting off all contact with his ex. It was one of the hardest things he'd ever done, but it was also the most liberating. Without the constant reminders of what was, Jay could focus on rebuilding himself. The counselor suggested filling his newfound free time with activities that reignite his sense of self. Jay took up journaling to process his emotions and joined a local fitness class, something he'd always wanted to try but never had time for during the relationship. These activities weren't just distractions, they were tools to rediscover his identity and create a life that didn't revolve around someone else. Meditation helped him manage anxiety, while new hobbies gave him a sense of purpose. By taking these steps, Jay began to see that moving on isn't just about letting go of your ex. It's about creating a life so fulfilling that their absence no longer leaves a void. For any man dealing with heartbreak, this lesson is crucial. Healing comes from within, and the best way to move forward is to build a foundation rooted in your own happiness. 6. Healing through self-development. Heartbreak can feel like the end of the world, but for Jay, it became the beginning of a new chapter. Instead of fixating on his ex's rebound relationship, Jay shifted his focus inward. His counselor emphasized the power of self-development as the ultimate form of recovery. This meant setting higher standards for future relationships and prioritizing self-worth. Jay realized that his happiness couldn't depend on anyone else, it had to come from within. He started reading self-help books, attending workshops, and setting goals that aligned with his values. This journey wasn't about revenge or proving his worth to his ex. It was about becoming the best version of himself. Through this process, Jay began to see the breakup not as a failure, but as an opportunity for growth. He learned to set boundaries, value his time, and approach relationships with a healthier mindset. For men like Jay, self-development isn't just a way to heal, it's a way to ensure that the next chapter of their lives is filled with confidence, fulfillment, and the kind of love that starts from within. 7. Encouragement for the journey ahead. Healing from heartbreak is never a straight line, and Jay's journey is proof of that. There were days when he felt strong and focused, and others when he was overwhelmed by sadness and doubt. But through it all, Jay learned one important lesson. It's okay to feel bad. Recovery is a process, not a destination. His counselor reminded him that every bad day is just a part of the journey, not a sign of failure. Jay found support in a Facebook group of men going through similar experiences, where he realized he wasn't alone. The group offered encouragement, advice, and validation on his toughest days. For anyone dealing with a breakup, this support system can be invaluable. Jay's story is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there's light ahead. The pain won't last forever, and with time, effort, and self-love, clarity will come. You don't have to rush the process. Take it one day at a time. Celebrate small victories, and know that better days are coming. Healing is hard, but it's worth it, and you're capable of building a life that's even better than before. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. Breakups are messy, painful, and downright exhausting, but they're also a powerful wake-up call, a chance to rebuild and refocus your life. Jay's journey is proof that even in the face of heartbreak, there's a way forward. Cutting ties, focusing on self-development, and building a life centered on your own happiness aren't just steps, they're transformations. If you're struggling like Jay, remember this: you don't have to be perfect to heal. There will be days when you miss her, days when it feels impossible to move on, and that's okay. Growth isn't linear, but every small step you take, every hobby you try, boundary you set, or moment of self-reflection brings you closer to a better version of yourself. Most importantly, don't let the rebound relationship define your worth. You are not a placeholder, and your value isn't determined by how quickly she moved on. Instead, let this be a turning point, a chance to raise your standards, rediscover your confidence, and build a life you're proud of. You've got this. It's not just about surviving the breakup, it's about thriving after it. Keep moving forward, one step at a time. The best is yet to come.